Hi, I'm Brad Knowles, producer of Friday Night Flies, hosted by Scott LeBoldis and Scotty Holmes. Enjoy the show.
Hey everybody, Zach here for Friday Night Flies. It has been a while. Yeah, I've been up to a lot of things. I've moved shops, time from home because we're too busy at the shop, and tying up a whole bunch of new different stuff that I never thought I'd actually be tying because we host travel trips as well. So for those of you that don't know, I am now at Pacific Angler, which is located at 78 East Broadway. Jordan, who's been on the shop or been on the show, he's also working at the shop. He's been there for a number of years, so come on in, say hi. Like I said, we do hosted travel trips as well. So in March, I will be going to Christmas Island with the shop. I'm really looking forward to that. It'll be my first warm water experience, and that's leading me to tie up some new boxes of new stuff. So lots of bonefish flies, flies for triggerfish and GTs and all sorts of crazy stuff like that. If you are interested, reach out and I can get you all the details. We still have a few spots available in March, and Jordan's also hosting a trip in November next year, so we have lots going on. Like I said, it's too damn busy to tie at the shop, so I'll be tying from home. As you can see, my desk is an absolute disaster. I'm sure all of you can relate. When you get on a roll with things and inspiration keeps hitting you, you start grabbing materials and don't put anything away. So that's what we got. So yeah, today I'm going to be tying you a little bonefish pattern that works really well down there. Talking to the guys that have done the trips before, I've got a lot of inspiration and tips and things like that from them. So we're going to be tying a little shrimpy fly. I'm going to call it the coconut shrimp for bonefish. A little bit of pink, a little bit of tanny white colors, everything. The big thing with bonefish flies and flats fishing in general is you want the flies to match the bottom that you're fishing. So if you're getting the grassy kind of bottoms, you're going to want to tie a lot of olives and chartreuses and greens. When you get really sandy, beautiful beaches like there is down in Christmas Island, lots more tans and whites and things like that, sandy kind of colors. So not much to these flies, they're pretty straightforward, so let's head on down and check it out. There it is, the coconut shrimp. Like I said, not much to these flies, they're pretty straightforward. Yeah, pretty easy. Don't really know what else to tell you. So basically there's lots of sandy bottoms on Christmas Island, so I will be tying them. Lots of tans and sandy kind of colors, whites, yada yada yada. You guys get the idea. Yeah, I will also be doing some olives as well. So there's lots of different hooks that you can use for saltwater. The Tiemco 811S is one that's been touted as one of the best saltwater hooks out there. We don't think so. Last year, Jordan had a lot of them bend out on him on hook sets, so that was a little bit worrisome. So he's kind of glad he tied on some different hooks. So one I'm tying on a fair bit is Daiichi 2546, as well as the Mustad Big Game hook and the Arex NS115 deep streamer hook. These are wicked hooks, black finish, which is nice, slight upturn eye, which is kind of neat, something a little bit different. So let's get to it. Like I said, there's not much to these flies, they're pretty straightforward. So I'm using some 140 shrimp pink Danville thread here. I'm going to start that just behind the eye, and just going to get a little bit of a thread base going on here. Trim that away. Now, one thing that's also key with flats flies, you want to have a variety of different weights of your flies. So what I mean by that is you're going to have some with some small dumbbells, like I'll be tying with on this one. You're going to want some with some medium bead chain, medium dumbbells, and extra small lead eyes and even small lead eyes. That way you can get a variety of depths out of the same kind of flies. So I'm going to be tying a bunch of these in all the different weights so that I'm covered for any situation really. So I'm just going to take some X-wraps here around these are the small black dumbbells. You can really play around with colors. I just like to take a quick second, make sure everything's lined up how it should be. And I'm going to take just a wee touch of Solaris Bone Dry here, just to help secure these. You can use super glue as well if you like. I I can't seem to find it. As you saw, my bench is a complete disaster. So I'm just going to zap that. That way they don't twist on me or anything. They all stay right in place. And beauty of Solarez, the resonator light, that is now cured right up. So I am going to continue taking thread wraps back down the hook shank. And I'm going to go slightly down the bend of the hook here. I'm going to come up slightly, and I'm going to tie in my tail. So my tail for this fly is some Chacon's barred crusher legs in hot pink, or fluorescent pink and clear. These are wicked legs. They're quite thin, which is nice. They give you a lot of movement in the water. And one leg will give you a bunch of different tails. So I'm going to tie this in. You want it a little longer than the length of the body, or the hook shank. So I'm just going to tie that in on my side. If I can get it to cooperate here. And just going to take a few wraps back. When it's a fresh piece, they are quite long. Just going to take some nice wraps there. I'm going to come back up. I'm going to grab that leg. I'm going to pull it over to your side. I'm going to tie it down the other way. Got some spare fur kicking around here. You'll see the wings of these flies are pretty easy. It's just like so. I'm going to come up and smooth out that body just by going up and down a little bit. 140 builds up these bodies quite quick, so that's what we want. Now I'm going to trim away these tails. Again, I want it like a length and a half of the body or so. Just trim it there. Keep the rest of that leg for another fly. As you can see, the tails splayed out nicely. The thing with rubber legs, you can tie in more than you want too. Like you can have some on the front, which is kind of cool. What that allows you to do is to change the fly as you fish it. So if you get a refusal, you can rip off some legs and it's a totally different fly now. Eventually you get nothing. So you want to be able to rip these flies apart, so don't spend too much time on them. Rabbit strips, actually no, jumping ahead of myself here. We got to get that body in. So the body for this fly is some flat braid. I really like the Lagerton. This is like a hot pink. This stuff actually lays flat compared to other flat braids that are out there on the market. I like to keep it on the spool instead of cut chunks off because this stuff does cost a little bit of money. So I don't like to waste very much. So I'm just going to chase that all the way down, again to help create that nice smooth body profile. And I'm going to end with my thread in front of the eyes. And if you noticed, I tied the eyes back a little bit. That just helps to keep things, give us enough room for the head and the wing of the fly. So I am just going to wrap this forward, overlapping turns. The Lagerton is, like I said, very nice. Actually lays flat. Some of the diamond braids and stuff like that, they get little squirglies and stuff that stick out all over the place. Not a big fan. We're just going to take a couple more wraps here. When I get to about this point, I'm going to come across the eyes. I'm going to take a half wrap in behind. And I'm going to come back over top. So I kind of X wrap the dumbbells there. Take another half wrap. Now I'm going to lock it down. 1, 2, 2 in front. Trim that away. And I'm just going to tidy up that head there. And you can experiment with head colors too. I'm just going to kind of reposition those tails a little bit. Now to really make these flies a little bit bomb proof, Solarez thin, I'm going to coat the body with this. You're chucking into coral and the fish aren't very nice. Taking this extra step to coat them with a resin definitely makes them a little more bomb proof. On average, it's about a fly a fish. They absolutely shred these things, so it's a good idea to take whatever steps you can to make these last at least 2 flies, 2 fish if you can. And especially if you get into the trigger world. Trigger fish have big teeth. I've been tying similar patterns on completely different hooks because they will actually bite through the wire of the hook, which is pretty insane. Looking forward to coming across a couple of those guys. So there we go. Got a pretty nice looking body there. And again, just zap it with your light. Hopefully you can see those crusher legs. They are barred, which is kind of cool. So you can see those hot spots that are going on. Cure this guy up. So she's looking all pretty like. As you guys know, the Solarez dries tack free, which is something that we absolutely love. Which is nice when you're putting natural materials on top of it. They don't stick to the body. There we go. She's all cured up. Now we get into our wing, which is some rabbit strips in light brown. This has a really nice fade to it. Hopefully you can see that there. It's kind of like a white into a nice light brown. Really, really fishy color for flats fishing. So all I do, take a little bit from the hide here. Don't want to go too crazy, because you want it to be a little bit, you want them to be fairly sparse. And I just cut it away from the hide. Get rid of that. And what I like to do, I just like to pinch the ends and kind of tense the rabbit fur. So it kind of creates a hollow space on the inside. It allows the materials to breathe pretty good. And I want the tips to extend. I got one little straggler there. Kind of get them to extend just past the bend of the hook. I'm going to seat that right on top. Mind the fat fingers. I'm going to take a few wraps here to really secure that in place. Then I'm just going to double check, make sure everything's good. That's right in the center, right where I want it. Take a couple more wraps here. 3 wraps. I'm going to come in here and trim away the butt ends. Good sharp pair of scissors is key here. Ones there. You'll see I'm using these crazy anodized ones. These actually are all the Dr. Slick stuff that has the crazy rainbow anodizing. They're all one of a kind, which is cool, but they're meant for saltwater environments. So if you get the forceps and stuff, they're like this, good for fishing off beaches and flats, and but these ones actually have a stronger blade, which is good for synthetics and getting in tight to stuff like this. Now I'm just gonna tidy up that head a little bit. Just make sure it's looking all pretty. I got a few stragglers there. I can take care of that with a lighter later. And I'm gonna go straight into a whip finish. Just a couple turns. Just make sure that head's nice and smooth looking. Just like so. I'm gonna trim that away. And again, just gonna finish this off with some bone dry. If you've been watching the show for a while, you know this is easily one of our favorite resins to use. In a lot of cases, it's actually replaced head cement for me. Just build up a nice thin layer. This stuff is absolutely bomb-proof. And we'll go in there and cure that up. In just a second here. There's your bonefish coconut shrimp for Christmas Island. Hope you guys enjoyed that. Let's head on back up and sign out. There you have it, guys, the coconut shrimp. Hope you guys enjoyed that one. Something a little different, a little bit of a departure of what we normally do here on the show. Usually we tie up a lot more locally stuff, but if you're traveling, getting down to warm water destinations, this is one that you definitely want in your box. Mix up the colors, tie a variety of colors, and different weights as well is pretty key. I mentioned that in the video, so make sure you get all that stuff going on. Yeah, that's pretty much it for me. Like I said, come on in, visit me at the shop. That's Pacific Angler, which is in Vancouver, 78 East Broadway. We have a massive amount of tying stuff. Been there a little over a year now, and I've definitely made some huge leaps and bounds in that shop, in that department anyway. So we've got just about everything. If we don't have it, you probably don't need it, but you never know. There's always something that you need. Yeah, so come on in, visit. If we don't do another video before Christmas, hope you all have a good holiday, and we'll see you next time.